Hello friends, I am CA Ramesha, Prabhu, Chairman Maharashtra Society Welfare Association and the President of Affordable Housing Welfare Organization of India. We, in association with RERA Redevelopment Stakeholder Council, a body headed by Sri Gautam Chatterjee, former Chairman of RERA, have designed a course on process and procedure to be followed from the provisions of the law till the procedure regarding registration of a project. Today, we are going to discuss on the first session and there will be 22 sessions. Let me tell you, the purpose of this course is to empower chartered accountants, professionals to have handholding skill, and from the beginning till the project registration is completed, stepwise you will be handholding done. So therefore, all 22 videos of the as it is completed will be uploaded on Maharashtra news channel, and therefore I request you, if you want to develop a professional practice in RERA, please subscribe to Maharashtra news channel and get clear notification from time to time if you by clicking the bell icon. Now let us move to the first session. I am CA Ramesh Prabhu, Chairman of Maharashtra Societies Welfare Association. Welcome each one of you for this unique course which we have designed to tackle the registration process of RERA real estate projects. Today we are going to discuss the initial provisions, section 1 when the law has become applicable, section 2 some of the definitions, and then section 3 till section 10 related to the provisions of the registration of a real estate project and the registration and functions of real estate agent. This way, real estate project registration and agent registration, we have divided the entire process from beginning to end in 22 sections, or rather in 22 sessions. So these 22 sessions will be divided on Monday and Wednesday every week. So today is the starting date, and who can be the better person to guide us related to the vision of the RERA, and that is the founder chairman of RERA. That is none other than Honorable Sri Gautam Chatterjee, who has worked as the Additional Commissioner of Municipal Corporation, Greater Mumbai. Thereafter, as the at various departments and CEO and Vice President of SRA when that got established for the first time, then the MHADA CEO, and thereafter Housing Secretary all over Maharashtra. Then when the RERA was getting settled or established, he was appointed as the first chairman for RERA. So therefore, the entire foundation of the RERA has been taken care by none other than Honorable Sri Gautam Chatterjee sir, and therefore we thought this session should be inaugurated by him, and he has kindly consented to be part of this. And therefore, we welcome Honorable Sri Gautam Chatterjee sir and request him to take forward the session. Sir, I will tell you, we have participants across Maharashtra. The majority of the participants are chartered accountants. The professionals are like advocates, architects, engineers, and then we have some of the promoters, estate agents, and their office colleagues who wants to learn the process of registration of a real estate project. With this background, I request you to address our participants, and I welcome each of the participants and thank each one of you for being a part of this unique course, which will be into 22 sessions, a simple process like registration of a project. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ramesh Prabhu. So let me welcome all the participants in this inaugural session of basic course on RERA registration. At the outset, I extend my compliments to Maharashtra Societies Welfare Association, that is Mahaseva, and Affordable Housing Welfare Organization of India, who are jointly organizing these knowledge sessions. I am certain that such initiatives will not only bridge the existing information gaps, but will also bring in a whole lot of professionalism among players in the real estate sector. I am also particularly happy that Gruha Redevelopment Stakeholder Council, that is GRSE, SC, a recently curated unique entity comprising all real estate stakeholders, and which is dedicated to knowledge dissemination, especially related to redevelopment, is supporting this initiative. In today's inaugural session, there are expert speakers who will take you through the whole process of RERA registration of projects and of agents, Maharera's registration processes. However, I intend to give you a brief understanding of what the Act intended and how did we start this whole process and what were the problems initially faced and how we are ironing out all those differences. Now, people say that this Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016, which we call RERA, and which came into effect fully from 1st May 2017, 92 sections of this Act, all were made active from 1st May 2017, was a game changer legislation. It was meant to change the rules of the game of a pre-RERA sector of real estate, which was unorganized, which was unregulated, which was fairly indisciplined and totally non-transparent. So that is the rule of the game that existed pre-RERA, and that was supposed to be changed through this Act, and therefore this Act is called a game changer legislation. The Act had a very overwhelming emphasis on completing RERA registered projects, which meant that a project, real estate project, was meant to be registered. Whenever Section 3 of the Act required that the project should be registered, the purpose of registration was that the project has to get completed. And therefore, rightly, the framers of this Act brought under the Act not only newly launched projects, which were launched after May 2017, but also all the ongoing incomplete projects launched in the past, maybe 10 years, 15 years back, but due to some reason could not get completed, and then people were still trying to get their homes completed. Those projects were also brought under the ambit of the Act as ongoing projects to be registered, especially because the Act wanted all these projects to come under the Act and get completed. Now, in 2017, I remember when this Act came, the initial response was, especially from the developer community, how can we stay out of the RERA regulation? Now, if you have a unregulated sector and which is being brought under regulation, the first response is that no, this regulation may lead to strangulation, and therefore, can I get some patli gali from where I can get out and I don't need to register? Then there was also attempt to see how can I get extension of time for ongoing projects. Ongoing projects had to be registered within 3 months. There were efforts to do that effect also. And another thing that happened, which I saw, was that project promoters and the agents, they did not feel it necessary that I need to understand the nitty-gritty of the registration process. And as is the practice in the sector at that time, where everything seems to be outsourced, this job also of doing registration or getting registration done from Maharera was outsourced. Though I must admit that the Maharera website and the web portal for online registration was complete with detailed user manual and detailed guidelines. Everything was available. But that extra effort that was required by the players of the real estate industry, especially project promoters and real estate agents, did not happen. And it was depending on someone else who will come and for a fee will complete the whole process. Now, people who helped in the registration process maybe did a good job of registration, but the registration is not the be all and the end all. The registration of a project, as I mentioned, was meant to complete the project over a period of time. And it also required, as per Section 11, which is not a part of today's subject, but Section 11 required that every 3 months, every quarterly, the updated results, the project should be updated. Now, what happened was that these professionals who came in, or the consultants who came in to help the project promoters and the agents to get the registration done, they obtained their user ID and password, and thereafter, after the process of registration was done, they left. Now, we realized that when after the project registration had happened, and the projects were not getting updated, the quarterly progress reports were not getting filed, then we started reaching out to them through emails, and we realized that the emails are not reaching the right person. The project belongs to Mr. A. Mr. A had taken the help of Mr. B to get the project registration done. Mr. B had already left along with the user ID and password, and Mr. A was at a loss. He did not know how to go about. And therefore, there was a huge problem that was faced at that point of time, especially with regard to quarterly updates. As we speak here today, we are now into 7 years of the project getting implemented. Today, I feel the project promoters and agents have this quest for knowledge. It is very obvious that today 150 people have come forward to know and get hands-on experience of how do we go about when we have to do registration. And that is how they will become a thorough professional. Now, I have seen that such projects which are seeking registration, which are exempted from registration, are also trying to get a registration because RERA registration has a brand image. It's a very surprising thing. The section 3 of the act, which in fact in details I think people will tell you, also has some exemption clauses, like if the size of the project is small, or if the project is already got completed earlier, or if the project has redevelopment, then the redevelopment component need not come under the act. Now, these were exemption clauses in the act. But then my experience shows that people who wanted that their project should get a brand image of a RERA registration also went through RERA registration because they felt that bank loans are easily available and the project will sell better. And that is also borne out by various studies which have shown that today people who want to buy homes are looking for a RERA registered project. And therefore, I feel that information and knowledge are the key, and sessions such as these, which we are having today, will certainly help in gathering confidence and developing professionalism. Now, the basic act's purpose was to bring transparency and to remove information asymmetry. Also, to bridge trust deficit between buyers and sellers by redressing their grievances, and to strive for timely completion. But these are the most important things that the act wanted to achieve. And the pillars for achieving them were: how do you bring in transparency through disclosure? How do you bring in financial discipline? This will be talked about, section 4, the details which will come out in the today's disposition. How do you bring in accountability and compliance sort of a mentality? How do you speedily grievance redressal, do redressal of grievance and have a consumer centricity? Now, as Mr. Prabhu pointed out, chapter 2 of the act deals with section 3 to 6 will deal with project registration and extension, and 9 and 10 will deal with agent registration and agent functions of the agent. Similarly, chapter 2 rules 2 to 6, this is the rules I am talking about. There are rules also framed under the act, the Maharashtra Real Estate Regulation and Development Registration of Real Estate Project Rules of 2017, which was also further amended in 2019. I'm sure today they will take you through also some of the changes that have been brought in under those rules, because these rules and also the regulations which have been framed by MahaRERA have talked about the various formats which also you should know when you are filing an application for registration. An important thing, since also today's session may have some real estate agents, there was a section clause 15A introduced in the model form of agreement, which also said that where transactions are facilitated by a real estate agent, then in that case, whatever fees, remuneration charges that are payable to the said person shall be paid by the promoter and the allottee, which meant that if there was any violation of this, person could have taken access to filing a complaint under section 31 of the act. So therefore, these act provisions from 2 to 10 or 1 to 10 and the rules from up to rule 17 are dealing with the various subjects of how the registration process has to be done, the procedure, and the various fees that are to be charged. The fees also were also reduced in 2019, especially with plotted development. Now, regulation 3 and 4 of the MahaRERA general regulations are very important because they give you the formats for disclosure. Another regulation 3A and 3B was also introduced in 2017 October, which talked about quality assurance certificate in the form of form 2A and also various formats for plotted development. And a second amendment was carried out in October 2019, which was a very important amendment, which introduced mandatory condition of a promoter's membership with MahaRERA registered SRO. SRO is a self-registered organization, self-regulatory organization. So self-regulatory organizations like CREDAI, NAREDCO, Builders Association, Bruhan Mumbai Developers Association, and about 7 or 8 of them are MahaRERA registered SROs. Today, when any promoter has to file an application for registration, he has to necessarily first get a membership from any one of these SROs. Apart from this, the act, the rules and the regulations that I just now mentioned, there are 156 orders and circulars of MahaRERA, which have been issued right from May 2017 when the Act came till May 2024. And they give various explanations and clarifications, and many of these are related to project and agent registration. I'm sure in today's session, people would be talking about these things. And in short, if I have to end, I must say that information about project registration is all laid out in the Maharashtra website and the web portal. Only you need to know as to how do I access them. And I'm sure today's session will help you to navigate that web portal so that you get hands-on experience on the whole process of registration, and you don't have to depend on anyone else when you have to go ahead and do registration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think you have given a brief overview as to the purpose of the Act, how it is getting implemented, what should be the expectation of the consumers and other stakeholders. I really compliment you. Even after retirement, you have accepted the responsibility of the stakeholders, especially in the real estate and real estate redevelopment sector. And I'm very happy that you did mention that Graha Redevelopment Stakeholder Council will be consisting of all the stakeholders, whether it is of a promoter who takes care of the redevelopment, and then there are service receivers, service providers like contractors, financial institutions, and so many other people. I think you have taken that lead, and therefore I also compliment you, and we certainly wish you best of luck in this new venture. And
Thank you.
if there are some participants have a question to sir, yes, you can put it in the chat box. And even if you don't put it in the chat box, I have shared my mobile number and the email address. You can still connect me, and I will try to take the help of sir and connect you. So with this, thank you very much. And now we have today the first speaker, that is none other than Surabhi Dhonde, Bharat Dhonde. She is from Palghar. She has newly qualified chartered accountant, and since she started a practice since 2016-17, I suppose, and since then she has, the day RERA has started, along with her father, who is also chartered accountant, Bharat Dhonde, who is also faculty in the RERA. With him, she has been working and doing RERA registration. And therefore, we thought, in order to encourage the youngsters, none other than young chartered accountant should be given a platform to share the knowledge so that it becomes a confidence building exercise for the youngsters. With this introduction, I can also say that Surabhi is one of the participants, RERA Leadership Development Program, which was conducted at Hyderabad, 4 days residential course, and therefore she also has enough knowledge. And as per our standard operating procedure for these 22 sessions, the participants who have registered are given an option to volunteer for preparing the presentation paper, prepare the PPT, and also after the presentation, they are also their videos also will be uploaded on the YouTube so that they get a required mileage. And the purpose is to encourage the youngsters. With this, I welcome Surabhi Dhonde to take us through the section 1 to section 10, and then if there are any questions, certainly we will address. Thank you. Surabhi, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the kind introduction. I would just like to share my screen now. Please let me know if my screen would be once it is visible. My name is CA Surabhi Dhonde. I am a managing partner at Bharat Dhonde & Co. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to the chairman, that is CA Prabhu sir, for giving me this opportunity to kick off this wonderful sessions on the basic course of the real estate project registration. Ramesha has always been a very motivating force for us youngsters. Under his guidance, we aim to provide a comprehensive overview of the registration process, ensuring that all the participants are well equipped with the necessary knowledge to navigate the complexities of the real estate regulations. I would also like to extend my gratitude to Honorable Shri Gautam Chatterjee, the first chairman of RERA, who I deeply admire and look up to. Today, we will be discussing the provisions related to the registrations of real estate projects and agents. Sir has already been kind and given me an introduction, so I would like to skip this. But however, I would like to add, I have had the great opportunity of attending the Residential Leadership Development Program in Hyderabad, which was organized by ICAI. I've had a great learning privilege actually from CA Ramesha sir itself, who was the chief architect of this project. Today, before discussing the provisions of the registrations, I would like to provide an overview on the Real Estate Act 2016. I look forward for this session. Please note down any queries or doubts regarding today's topic. We shall address them at the end of the seminar. Should the time run out, kindly email your queries to Surabhi at Dhonde.in or rsprabhu13@gmail.com, and we would be happy to clarify them. Our goal today is to ensure that all the participants leave with a clear understanding of the registration process, and we are able to apply this knowledge in our professional practices. Introduction. The real estate sector is governed by multiple laws of central and state government. However, it has been largely remained unregulated. While there are several laws in place and various municipal laws, there has been a significant gap in the regulation of this sector. To name a few central laws, we have Transfer of Property Act, Registration Act, Stamp Act, the Income Tax Act. The Civil Code and the Criminal Procedure Codes both apply too. Similarly, state governments have enacted respective state land revenue codes, Regional Town Planning Act, Development Control Rules, Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act 1963 and 1970. Now, in spite of having so many laws, the government has realized that the real estate development needs a comprehensive regulator to have an orderly growth. Accordingly, this led to enactment of the Real Estate Regulation and Development Act 2016, also known as RERA or RERA. To go with genesis of the RERA, RERA was introduced to address these long-standing issues. The genesis of RERA can be tracked back for the need of regulatory framework that could ensure transparency, accountability, and efficiency in the real estate sector. Initially in 1963, the Maharashtra Ownership Flat Act, known as MOFA, was introduced. Jumping to January 2009, the National Conference of Ministers of Housing and Urban Development proposed a law for the real estate sector. After the multiple level of government clearance and approvals, the bill was published in the Gazette of India and thus came RERA Act. The Real Estate Regulation and Development Act was made effective on 1st May 2017. Now, why is this act required? There are multiple challenges in the real estate sector today. Some developers, builders have been taking advantage of the system and have deceived the consumers in the past. This lack of regulation going to the defects in the real estate sectors. First, highly unregulated sector in spite of so many laws. Lack of transparency in projects. Information regarding the title clearance were withheld. Litigation against the land were not disclosed. Next would be no proper information about the builder. Very less information of the past performance of the builder was actually known to the public. Next is lack and ease of quick redressal. We all know the issues faced by the legal systems in India, which was the number of pending cases or the time taken to resolve it. Possession not given on time. We have seen the situation where possession of units have been actually delayed for 4, 5, 10 years maybe too. Not providing OC or completion certificates. Even today, we have multiple old projects where people are inhabiting and no OC is yet provided. No formation of society or giving conveyance to the project land. Parking in open spaces was sold for multiple lakhs. Fraud and cheating by builders. Diversion and siphoning of funds. Example, what used to happen? Amount of consideration received from building A was sometimes used by the builder in making building B, which used to cause a lack in available funds and used to actually happen, like it used to make the project difficult. It used to, due to the lack of funds or due to any kind of siphoning, the projects were not getting completed. Approval plans and title deeds were not provided. These information are sometimes withheld by the developers to hide the approvals received. The flat areas were sold at super built-up. We have seen almost 100% loading being applied, and the units were registered at almost double values, and more amount was taken by the allottees. Do not provide all agreed elements. Multiple things are promised to make the deal look very attractive and fancy, like maybe Jaguar fittings or Italian marbles. However, not all promises are delivered. No accounts are provided for maintenance collection. To address these issues and protect customers, RERA was enacted. Preface. To understand any law or act thoroughly, it is essential to refer to the preface to grasp the context and core principles of the topic. Breaking down the preface actually allows us to easily identify the objectives of the Act. The Minister of Urban Development, Minister of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation, and the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, that is Honorable Shri M. Naidu, stated that RERA is an act to establish a real estate regulatory authority for, first, regulation, and second, promotion, main important, of the real estate sector. It is to ensure sale of the plot, apartment, or building in a very efficient and transparent manner, and to protect the interests of consumers, and to establish a mechanism for speedy dispute redressal, and to further establish an appellant tribunal to hear the appeals from the decision, directions, or order by the authority or the educating officer. So, establishment of regulatory authorities, promotion of transparency, protection of the consumer interests, creation of speedy dispute redressal mechanism, and were the main objectives of the Act. Coming to applicability. This Act is applicable across India, that is, including Jammu and Kashmir. This Act has become effective from 1st May 2017. Now, the Act is applicable to the residential, commercial, plotted, and all types of business development that are for sale. So now, which includes residential flats, shops, bungalows, industrial units, garages, offices, row house, or any construction or constructed structure. Now, this is provided and only if it is provided and agreed to be provided by the promoter to the purchaser in exchange of a consideration. Now, the projects of industrial estates are not required to be registered as per one case law, that is Techno Drive Engineer Private Limited versus Renaissance Infra Private Limited. However, there is no specific positive clarification available from MahaRERA. Coming to the functions of RERA, we have the administrative function, judicial, advisory, executive, and regulatory. Next, the objectives of RERA Act. The RERA Act is intended to achieve the following objectives: to ensure accountability towards allottees and protect their interest, infuse transparency, introduce professionalism, pan-India standardization, establish symmetry of information, impose certain responsibilities on both promoter and allottees, establish regulatory oversight mechanism, establish a fast-track dispute resolution mechanism. Going to the objectives of the RERA Act. The RERA Act is intended to achieve the following objectives: to ensure accountability towards the allottees, protect their interest, infuse transparency, introduce professionalism, pan-India, and standardization, establish symmetry of information, imposing certain responsibilities on both, that is the promoter and the allottees, imposing certain responsibilities that we have covered, establishing regulatory oversight and mechanism, and to establish a fast-track dispute resolution mechanism. The salient features of the Act shall consist the real estate project registration, the real estate agent project registrations, filing the complaints, maintaining a financial discipline, and transparent and consumer-oriented approach. These
features aim to bring a significant improvement in the real estate sectors. Now, who are the parties responsible in RERA? Under RERA, the stakeholders responsible includes developer, competent authorities such as planning authorities, customers, landowners, real estate agents, professions such as advocates, chartered accountants, engineers, contractors, and architects. So each party has a specific role to ensure compliance with the RERA regulations. Moreover, RERA has heavily relied on the professionals. As professionals, it is our duty to ensure correctness and transparency in our actions. The professionals involved shall provide certificates regarding the work done for the project. Example, Form 1 shall be provided by the architect, Form 2 shall be given by the engineer, and Form 3 by the chartered accountant. Due care must be taken while providing these certificates. As professionals, it is our duty to educate the promoter regarding the law and provisions applicable to them. The certificates issue shall be done with the right perspective. So now, as professionals, it is our duty to educate the promoter regarding the laws and provisions applicable to him. The certificates which we are issuing shall be done in a right perspective. That is, we shall not give in to promoters' undue demands, if any, and maintain our professionalism. If one is to read the explanation of Form 5, that is the annual audit formed by CA, it states that the authority shall take action, not may, shall, and raise the issue with the concerned institute. The penalization of inappropriate certification involves debarment. Thus, it is our duty to ensure only provide correct, fair, and true information to the authorities. Now we shall go to the actual provisions of registration of real estate projects and real estate agents. Section 3. Compulsory registration of the real estate project. It is mandatory for a promoter to register their real estate project under the RERA Act 2016. No promoter shall advertise, market, book, sell or offer to sell, or invite persons to purchase any plots, apartments, building, or any part of any real estate project in any planning area without a registration in the of the project in the real estate RERA authority, which is established under this act. After the implementation of this act, various cases all over India were filed, challenging the validity of the certain provisions of this act. All these cases were then clubbed together and assigned to the Bombay High Court to decide. In the landmark judgment of Nilkamal Realtors Suburban Private versus the Union of India, these provisions were ultimately held to be constitutional, valid, and legal. I recommend it as like a must read. Coming to the exemptions of the registration for the real estate projects, first will be the project where the area does not exceed 500 square meters or less than 8 units are exempt from registration. Previously, both the conditions were needed to be satisfied to get the exemption. But now, even if one condition is satisfied, then a project need not be registered. This is a welcoming change for the promoter. To clarify, Maharashtra has issued Circular number 25 in October 2019, stating that the real estate projects where the area of the land proposed to be developed is less than equal to 500 square meters shall not require a RERA project registration, irrespective whether the number of units proposed to be developed is less than, equal, or more than 8. That is inclusive of all the phases. Now again, where projects there are number of units which are less than 8, however, the land area is more than 500, still they get the exemption. Now the notification further clarifies that to voluntarily submit applications for purview. This helps in establishing a trust in the allottees and provides an ease of business. As Gautam has said, it provides a brand to the project. All the allottees are looking now for having a RERA registered project. Next, all the projects which are completed where the OC was granted before implementation of the Act. That is, OC granted before 1st May 2017. Next would be any kind of renovation or repairs which are done and does not involve any reallotment or market. Next, we shall move to the section 4, disclosure of information by the promoter. Now, this is an important section. The process of registration in 2017 was very simple, where the objective was to mainly onboard the promoters. Today, the process of registration entails multiple documentation, declarations, and certificates to be provided. Registration of project involves documentary information, which is from promoters, CAs, lawyers, and planning authorities. Proper synchronization of the main application with all these documents is a must. Rule 33 of Maharashtra Registration Rules 2017 prescribes Form A for filling an application of the registration. The project can be registered by paying a prescribed fee and furnishing the following information. Now, let us come to this detail of information that is to be given by the promoters. First, a brief detail of the promoter, that is, whether the promoter is a proprietor or is it a partnership firm, is it a private limited, who are the partners, who are the directors, where is the registered office, which builders association is there a part of. Now, SRO is a concept which is introduced by Maharashtra, and we do hold an individuality in this. So this has also helped multiple promoters get through with the project registration areas. Next will be details of the project launched by the promoters in the last 5 years. We need to now produce the details of all the past projects, whether any litigations were there, what kind of projects have we able to do. Next will be details of approvals, commencement certificate, copy of sanction plans. Whenever we're giving these copies, clear copies along with highlights on the relevant information shall be uploaded. Make sure that all the approvals, CC and sanction plans are synchronized with the CC approval number and the survey number too. Next shall be detail of development work. Now, what kind of development work is going to be provided? That is, if the internal roads are going to be provided, if there is going to be a recreational space, whether there will be rainwater harvesting, what kind of facilities and amenities you shall be providing has to be also informed. Details of location of the project. Now we have the option of inserting the geolocation and add the latitude and the longitude information of the project to help the allottees have a better understanding and access to the project. Model form of allotment letter, agreement of sale and conveyance deed. Now this has to be done given by the promoter, like whatever model agreements are you going to provide for the transaction, they are supposed to upload it. The promoter is supposed to follow the model agreement provided by the authorities and approved by the authorities. This has put the allottees to an ease and provides a good assurance. Details of apartment and garages. That is, what is the RERA carpet area? Whether it is classified as a 1 BHK, 2 BHK, is it a shop? How it is identified can be clearly uploaded. Next would be details of the real estate agents and the professionals involved. Clear details of the real estate agents, professionals such as the chartered accountant, architect, engineer, advocate, and also the contractor are to be provided. The contact details, email IDs, the office addresses has to be provided as well. Survey report. Survey report is now mandatory, where all the financial encumbrance, any kind of encumbrance which the project land has, can be easily seen through this report. This too has to be now uploaded. Next comes various declarations. They have to be supported by affidavit. Now, coming to that, what the affidavit should state. First, that he or she have a legal title to the land on which development is proposed, along with all the legally valid documents. Next, land is free from all encumbrances. No kind of encumbrances, no legal or financial encumbrances or physical encumbrances are to be mentioned in this. Next, the time period in which he or she undertakes to complete the project. What amount of time is the phase or the project going to require shall be clearly stated in the beginning, and it also has to be put on this affidavit. Lastly, the 70% of the amount realized from the real estate project from the allottees shall be deposited in the separate account. Now, as per RERA, any amount which is coming in from the allottee, the 70% of it has to be blocked off into another account. This account is controlled by the withdrawals are controlled by the approvals that the certificates which are given by the engineer, architect, and the CA on the amount on percentage of work done, and accordingly the same value helps to be withdrawn. RERA authorities have issued specific formats for declarations and SOPs for different procedures. Like model form for the legal title report is available, allotment letter, agreement for sale, conveyance deed. along with their deviation reports also. Now, along with this, there are some non-negotiable clauses that have been issued. For example, the force majeure clause, the conveyance of the title of the project, formation of the society, the most important structural defect clause. All these clauses have been made mandatory by the RERA. Previously, the promoter used to issue its own customized agreement of sale, entailing multiple and undue restrictions on the allottee. The model agreement ensures and it covers appropriate balance of duties and regulations on the promoter and allottees both. This has helped bringing standardization to the documentation process. The format specified by Maharera are required to be exactly followed, absence of which queries can be raised from the department and the registration can be delayed. Proper care should be taken on this. Now, there were a few loopholes in the system where some promoters have forged the commencement certificates or the OC. Now, RERA department has synced the system with the planning authority itself. Wherever the system is not actually into implementation, like yet in Palghar, we write an application to the planning authority to email the CC or the OC to the RERA directly. Thus, it validates the CC and OC without actually having any doubts further. It doesn't give you that ambiguity anymore. This ensures a full disclosure and transparency in the project details and timelines. Now, one note while uploading this documentation on the website, all documents should be of 2 MB or less, but care should be taken that the documents are clear and readable when they are uploaded. Certain information are required to be marked for easy identification by the Maharashtra officials. Any fault would invite to actual queries and it might consequently delay the project registration. Thus, proper and sufficient reviews in the linkaging between the application, the main application, versus what documentation you are providing will save you some time in the registration process. On receipt of the application, authority shall grant registration provided that the application submitted is to the satisfaction of all 3 departments. Then only the registration will be granted. Now, there are 3 departments which are processing the application for registration: the technical department, the legal department, and the finance. Along with this, there are multiple desk levels ranging from desk 1 to desk 4. Here, they scrutinize the application along with the documentation submitted. If in case the department finds any defect or finds any documentation to be inappropriate or missing, they send back the application to the promoter for correction and resubmit. The resubmit option is provided. So now, after that resubmit, you have the option or you have the space to correct your application, provide appropriate documentation. After scrutiny from all 3 departments and making appropriate correction, and if the authority is then satisfied, shall then grant a registration. This process takes some time. If the documentation is not as per the requirement, we have seen taking multiple months also. Like, it is interesting to note that in July 2017, when we first started, we got a registration even in 24 hours, but in some cases. But now, getting a registration in 30 days feels like an achievement. The authority shall provide us credentials on the grant of registration, such as the registration number. The application can be rejected within the period of 30 days also, in case it does not conform to the provisions of the Act. Provided that no application shall be rejected unless the applicant has been given the opportunity of being heard. As we discussed, the resubmit button shall be made available. Any clarification, the party has an opportunity of actually giving what is required. Further, there are also open house held by the department every Thursday. So it helps the promoter basically to understand the requirements from the the authority itself. If any lacunas are there in the application, any shortcomings or any documents which are missing, which can be easily communicated. Now, in case if the authority, I would like to briefly touch upon the subsequent sections to give you a basic understanding of the Act. These topics will be covered in details in the upcoming sessions by my fellow colleagues. Section 6, Extension of Registration. The extension granted under Section 5 may be extended by the authority on the application by the promoter only due to force majeure. Now, force majeure includes events such as war, flood, drought, fire, cyclone, earthquake, or any other natural calamities. Now, this extension granted can be only given if it is there is no default on the part of the promoter side. and such extensions shall not exceed a period of 1 year. Section 7, that is revocation of registration. The authority may revoke the registration granted on receipt of any complaint by a competent authority or suo motu on recommendation of the authority after being satisfied that the promoter is involved in any kind of unfair practices or the promoter violates any terms or condition of the approval given, or whether the promoter defaults in complying with the provision of the act, and maybe if the promoter indulges in any fraudulent practices. These factors can be considered before and the authority will make sure, and if it is satisfied, they would go ahead with the revocation of registration. Section 7(3) can be used like for an extension for the subject to terms. Now, the authority may, instead of revoking this registration under subsection 1, it can permit to remain in force. Now, but this is subject to further terms and condition, which it thinks fit by in the interest of the allottees. Now, this is a widely used section to obtain extension by the promoters, only and only by the consent of 2/3 of the allottees. Moving next to the consequences of the revocation. The authority shall debar the promoter from accessing the website. The authority shall specify the name of the promoter in the default list and also give a photograph on the to be displayed. No real estate agent shall be able to facilitate any kind of sale or purchase or act on behalf of anyone else for any plot, apartment, or building which is registered under Section 3 without an proper registration. It is mandatory thus for the agents to register to facilitate any kind of sales for the registered projects. This ensures that the agents adhere to the RERA regulation and maintain transparency. Coming to our last section, that is Section 10, functions of the real estate agents. Every real estate agent shall make sure that they are not facilitating any sale of any project not registered in this with the authority. Second, the real estate agent shall maintain and preserve such books of accounts, records, and documents as prescribed by the authorities. He or she shall not involve themselves in any unfair trade practices, such as maybe falsely representing the services to be of a particular standard or grade, or representing themselves or the promoter to have any kind of approvals or affiliation which they might not. Further, the real estate agent shall facilitate the possession of all the information and documentation which the allottee is entitled to at the time of booking of any plot, apartment, or building. Further, they also need to discharge any other action. What are the takeaways from this session we can take? First, registering a real estate project is a significant process that demands attention to the legal protocols. Any information and documentation submitted would remain on the web page forever. In case any complaints come up in the future, this data can be used to scrutinize by the authority. Unlike in 2017, today the scrutiny level is much higher and in detailed manner. So we need to make sure whatever that is going on the website, whatever we're uploading for the project, it has to be valid, it has to be in a clear form as required. Second, coming to the synchronization of the application and the documents uploaded. Submission of the main application and the document submitted has to be cross-checked for verification. Any mismatch would lead to a delay for the months, and you would be actually losing precious time that might adversely affect the projects. I have seen projects which I've also seen one project where registrations have taken more than a year due to their unavailability of documents or anything which is not actually as per RERA. Now, we should also remember that the officers need to be able to be clearly reading your documents. So make sure whatever we are uploading is of clear pixels. You have given proper highlights. It will make your registration process in a little easier. It will give you the approvals with a little faster approach, maybe professional approach towards certification. Most while providing the form 1, 2, and 3, as the we professional itself are under the purview of the RERA Act. Now, the penalties levied by the Maharashtra in case of contravention of the provision. So, if we are going back and resubmitting the documents without actually complying to what is required, RERA might also put up a penalty. That is, they can put a percentage of project cost on you for causing this inconvenience. This can be in percentage of the cost of project and can amount to lakhs of rupees. Lastly, proper knowledge of law and procedure is a must. Now, proper knowledge is a must for all the promoters as well as the professionals. We need to understand the rationale behind the required information. If the information and documentation is required is understood by us in complete sense, it is going to help you understand the law. It is going to understand why are we supposed to provide this documentation. This is not merely a form filling activity or where the application is to be given, but your significance to each information and each documentation is to be provided. By grasping the purpose and usage of this requirement, we professionals can provide a better service to our clients. This will help us anticipate any potential issues. It ensures and compliances, and it helps you navigate the registration process a little more effectively. This not only benefits the promoter, but obviously it enhances the professionalism and the reputation of the professionals involved. It demonstrates a deeper understanding and commitment for delivering a quality service. I would like to thank the audience today for their time and attention. I am apologetic for the technical issues that I have faced. I hope I was able to provide you with a basic understanding in my short span of 30-40 minutes. I would like to invite any questions or discussions from the audience, and I would also like to invite CA Ramesh Prabhu sir to the dais.
Thank you, Surabhi. I think you have nicely covered. No doubt for some time there was some technical hitches that do happen, and we will definitely thank you very much for a very good presentation, PPT which you have done, and also you can share, the article or the write-up on this so that it will become a part of notes to the participant and we can get it circulated. So
Definitely,
I think
sir.
this is, of course, you must have given many lectures, but on RERA, I think it is the second lecture you have given, if I'm not mistaken. So thank you very much, Surabhi. And I also now welcome our RERA leadership, joint convener with me, coordinator, CA Vinay Tyagraj from Bangalore. Vinay, welcome to you.
Ramesha, thank you very much. I just finished one training program at 5:30 and I just
Okay.
on the move to the office. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Thank you very much for being giving an opportunity to share and be part of this first day program. Okay. Friends, I really acknowledge each one of you and appreciate for being in this program. I heard that about 200 plus participants are registered for this the program which related to the real estate and the RERA, most probably the RERA. And my experience with this, I started this about 7 years back, even before RERA has made it mandatory. It's a extraordinary opportunity for all the professions, especially for the chartered accountants. Even though the Act recognizes the architect, engineer, chartered accountants, and the advocate, my experience is chartered accountants deliver a better services, especially in the registration and the compliance part compared to any other professionals, because we have ability to understand the business, ability to understand the numbers, ability to look into the document, and also a patience to an extent compared to any other professionals. This is a very, very a big opportunity and big advantage for the chartered accountants. Second, Maharashtra being pioneer in the real estate, and you can say about like 40% of the real estate projects or 30 to 40% of the projects is registered in Maharashtra alone compared to the entire India. So all our professional friends has a big opportunity to take this as a career also in terms of advising to the clients. When I say that career, it's not only a RERA, you should look at that real estate advisory as a whole, which may include your taxation, which may include your direct or indirect GST or income tax, looking at the documentation part of it, advising on the transaction services, look at various other compliances. Probably you can ask them to provide your accounting audit services, and it's a wonderful opportunity for us that to post RERA. More so, the industry is doing extremely good. We always say that like when there are regulation, when there is a government involvement, the industry will go to the very high level, next level. The same in this industry also. Post implementation of RERA, there is huge opportunity potential for the professionals also. Industry itself, the business itself has been gone to the four folds compared to the pre-RERA aspects, which gives a much benefit to the every stakeholders of the industry. So, couple of minutes in terms of my input is whatever you attending is only a sessions, and you need your efforts to make it more better and more champions of this. Friends, under Ramesh sir leadership, you have about 21 different speakers for this program, and you don't get these speakers in any of the programs. Probably you are lucky enough to have 21 different speakers to share all these programs to you. I'm sure that with this speakers' expertise and experience in this, you all will individually get benefit out of your participation. So I wish you, each one of you, all the best. And my one more suggestion is, amongst you, you identify about 3-4 people, you start reading, start understanding, start looking at what opportunity collectively you can bring it forth to you and your organization. All the best. Wishing you success and throughout this program and subsequently after. Thank you.
Thank you. In your busy schedule, you are taken out, you are come, you are guided, you are motivated, inspired, and it is also a motivation for me to take up this type of courses, non-traditional practice area for chartered accountants. Thank you very much. Now over to my son, who is also a chartered accountant, who had participated along with Surabhi in a leadership program at Center of Excellence at ICI at Hyderabad. So, Shresh Prabhu, who also has now started practicing in RERA and compliance and other parts. Over to you, Shresh, and you can express the formal vote of thanks, and then we can conclude the today's session.
Yes.
There are some, requests which have come that they want PPT. Certainly, the PPT will be shared, and we also requested each of the speakers to prepare a write-up in detail. That write-up also will be posted in your group. Thank you very much. Over to you, Shresh.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the session. I want to formally give a vote of thanks to CA Surabhi Dhonde, who through her PPT explained the whole section 3, section 4, section 5 of RERA. Along with that, the basics of how RERA came into existence and the whole background of RERA. So I give a vote of thanks to her who guided the whole session. Along with that, around 140 participants were there who were involved in the session throughout, who participated in the session, and I want to thank all of you all also who participated in the session. Now going forward, whoever this session, because it was the first session, it was available for everyone. So like in today or maximum by tomorrow, we'll make a separate group, and over there we will be formulating all the PPT, the written materials and everything. And along with that, as sir mentioned, the YouTube link will also be provided for this recorded session. So in that, no live chats and everything, or question answers will be answered. But in this Zoom call, all the live chat or any question will be answered. And if due to time constraint we are not able to do the same will be taken up in the next session or will be answered through WhatsApp. So yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you once again, Shreyash. So we request each one of you to participate all the remaining 21 sessions. We'll get chief guest for the session. We'll get the speaker, then the panelist for answering the questions. And those, if you miss some sessions, not to worry, we will give you the recorded sessions in the YouTube. Thank you very much once again. And also thank each of the participants for joining and supporting this cause. And we have started another course called Real Estate, RERA, Housing Society and Redevelopment as the 2 days residential course at Uttan, that is Bahindar, 6th and 7th of July next month. It's hardly a nominal amount is there. It's a residential. You will get a lot of inputs. We'll post it in the group also. Thank you very much. I thank each of the participants for your active involvement and the chief guest of the day, Sri Honorable Gautam Chatterjee sir, who has in detail spoke about the purpose and the registration, importance of the registration and what need to be done by the professions. Then of course CA Surabhi Dhonde also has in detail deliberated about the legal provisions of section 1 to 10, including registration of the real estate project agents. Then we also had CA Vinay Tyagraj, who is the co-author and the editor with RERA Law and Practice, circulated by Taxman and published by WRC of ICI. Then we have CA Stage Prabhu, who also had taken active part. I request each one of you to subscribe to the channel so that you will get some of the sessions. If you miss, you will be able to get the notification as and it is uploaded. Similarly, you please press the bell icon, so you will also get a. And further, if you have any questions, certainly you can put in the comment, and what type of videos you are looking at, what type of lectures you want, what type of courses you want, so that we will be able to start those courses for you. And entire purpose of this entire course is to empower young chartered accountants, professionals, especially the new area of practice where they can develop nicely. And I hope entire course you will be in a position to get your registration of real estate project without any hassle within a shortest possible time. Thank you very much.